Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom, and in this video we're going to be looking at one of the three films in this disc. So these are the old Rankin and Bass stop motion animation, or I think Frosty the Snowman's actually animation in general. I have to rewatch it, but these are the old Rankin and Bass stop motion animation. These are classics. We're going to be looking at Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which was, I believe, the first that they did. So this came out originally in 1964. So these are the kind of the classics. This was back before you got the movement of getting big name actors doing voice casting. So most of the people in here, with the exception of Burl Ives, are all basically voice actors. Strange enough, Rudolph was done by a woman by the name of Billy Mae Richards. That's the voice. Yukon Cornelius was done by Larry D. Mann. Sam the Snowman is Burl Ives. He's the narrator. Hermie was done by a voice actor by the name of Paul Soles. So that's the elf that's part of this group. Santa Claus was done by Stan Francis. The Charlie in the Box, was part of the Misfit Toys, is done by Alfie Scoop. And then Clarice, who's the love interest in this, it was done by Janice Ornstein. Donner, who is Rudolph's father, was done by Paul Kilman. And then the head elf was done by Carl Bands. And the doll, who was part of the Misfit Toys, was done by Corinne Connolly. And then Mrs. Donner was done by Peg Dixon, and let's see if I can get the rest of the cast here of some of the main characters here, who was Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus, well, that's the only one. Yes, Peg Dixon did Mrs. Donner, Mrs. Claus, and various others. So it looks like some of these did various other toys, which is probably pretty common. So that's a pretty basic story. Pretty familiar story if you're familiar with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph is born. He has a shiny nose. His father doesn't like it. His father tries to cover it up. He doesn't. Basically, his son is different. And he's eventually, once people find out after he does some of the reindeer games where they're showing off for Santa, his nose appears. Everybody freaks out. Clarice, who's the young doe, female deer, who had befriended him, who likes him, still tries to befriend him, but her father, of course, gets irritated. So he decides to run away. Then you have the elf. So the elf doesn't like Remy, I believe is his name. Bring back the IMDb page. Hermie. See, he doesn't like making toys. He wants to be a dentist. So then you get the songs, we're a couple of misfits. So both him and Remy run away. And they end up running into what on earth? Yukon Cornelius, he's a miner. He has some very interesting, I think, sled dogs. I don't remember exactly what they are. I don't think they're actually sled dogs. They run into him. He's kind of different. They end up being chased by a abominable snowman that kind of growls at them. And then they end up on the Isle of Misfit Toys. And basically they're toys that are abandoned. You have a Charlie in the Box rather than a Jack in the Box. I can't remember what's wrong with the doll. They have a bird that swims and doesn't fly. A couple of other just different toys that are different. And so they're the Isle of Misfit Toys. And they go to the leader of the Misfit Toys, who turns out to be a lion, asking to stay there. It's like, yes, but you're living. This is the Isle of Misfit Toys. You're not a toy, you're a living being. You have to deal with things. So that night, as typical hero fashion, Rudolph, whose nose is again glowing, he leaves his friend because he doesn't want to attract them to, basically the snowman to them. The abominable snowman. So time passes, seasons. He grows up, decides to go home. He now has horns. Only his father, his mother, and Clarice have all gone separately to try to rescue him. At first, Donner is like, no, his wife can't come with him. I'm going to do this on my own. You're a female. Then, of course, his wife and also called Mrs. Donner. Again, this is 1964, so a little bit of sexism going on. But again, it's 1964. So the two girls go off. So Rudolph comes home. His basically runs into Santa, and he's like, they're gone. They went after you they've been gone since you left. So he goes to find them. He runs into, again, this has been a matter of months, so it's not been that long, because again, deers grow up quickly. He finds his elf friend and Yukon Cornelius, and his parents and Clarice have been captured by the snowman. So the three of them together go and rescue him, and unfortunately Yukon Cornelius and the snowman fall over a cliff. They go home. They're welcomed back. You get the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer kind of thing. You're welcomed. The elf is able to become a dentist, and then there's also this running joke that Santa is too skinny and his wife needs to fatten him up before Christmas. So Yukon Cornelius shows up. He's basically, I think Remy had removed all his teeth, so they survive, and essentially he's been tamed. So they have a tamed abominable snowman. And then, of course, it's storming, and you get the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song where, it's dark. And then we have the added scenes, which, yes, if you look in the IMDb page, what happens to the Misfits toys was something that was added because children got upset when this was originally filmed and shown on television, because you don't know what happened to the Misfits toys originally. So they have to add these scenes where Santa's first stop is to pick up these misfit toys and deliver them to children. So that's how it ends. So it's a very heartwarming Christmas film. It's secular. It's not religious. It's old. It has some stop motion animation. For parents looking to do some sort of education with these things, you can look into the history of Rankin and Bass, which are fantastic. I covered one of their last Christmas film last year. If you want to check that out, I did, which is based, strangely enough, on the book of the same author as The Wizard of Oz. But that's the life and adventures of Santa Claus. That's all animation. So that was done last year, because again, we're trying to cover secular stuff, and I love Rankin and Bass. They did fantastic stuff. I think they had some issues when they switched animation studios, because originally most of this stuff, the stop motion animation, was done in Japan. So it's very interesting. These are still classics, and they're still fun. I still enjoy them. I rewatched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer this Christmas. So this is actually being filmed in the very end of 2021. So we're still in December, but Christmas was a couple of days ago. So this is fun. It's entertaining. It's classic. If you want to educate, you can talk about the history of Rankin and Bass. Talk about how this stop motion animation was done and how this animation was done. It's a very good example of how this was done back in the 60s. So that's it for this film review. Again, I'm going to be covering both the Frosty the Snowman and I think the last one on this disc is something to do with Santa Claus. I think this came in a set, and I think this set is over here. Here, let's see if I can grab it here. What is the other thing that we're covering here? Here we go. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That's the other one, and Frosty the Snowman. So those are the three. This set has a couple of other little shorts, and I'm not actually going to cover here, just because they're old and they're not as good. Maybe I'll cover them next Christmas or something. So, because these are mine. So that is it for this review. If you want to check out the channel, like and subscribe, comment if you have one. I'm going to be covering the rest of the original Christmas classics from this. Check out my stuff last year. I did some secular homeschooling, secular Christmas videos back in for 2021, which are being, yes, most of this is being filmed in 2021. But be sure to check that out as well. Again, we did the Kidnapped Santa Claus, and I think I did a couple of others. In fact, I should be able to tell you because this is just this year. Go back to what on earth came out this year. So, I can get back to it. Where is it? There we go. What did I cover last year? The Grinch Stole Christmas. I did a comparison on that. I did Prancer, which is another Christmas film, and I did the Polar Express. So that's what was covered last year. So again, like and subscribe, check out what I got. I also do a wide variety of other family films, more educational films, lots and lots of books, lots of children's books, teens books, various other educational books. And a whole bunch of stuff is obviously is more coming out. Let's see, this is 2022. Coming 2023, we have book series after book series after book series, including the Princess Diaries, which will be coming in January, followed by More to More Appears and the Guardians of Gung Ho. So that's Owl book series. So along with a whole bunch more stuff, half of which isn't planned yet. So as of this shooting. So again, like and subscribe. Check out what I've got. I have a whole bunch more planned. We'll be adding stuff besides reviews with homeschooling stuff. Again, as time comes on. So like and subscribe. Thank you.